Ross, thank you for coming on, because this is a big day when you get a double downgrade for a company like this. What was your initial reaction when you saw Morgan Stanley downgrading Tesla to an underweight and the concerns about the China risk? What was your first thought?
Well, my first thought is always the same when I get my notes from Morgan Stanley, which is I laugh because they are so reactive with the way they analyze Tesla, and they have been, for years. It's almost embarrassing. So I don't know why Morgan Stanley keeps embarrassing themselves with these reactive downgrades. I mean, Tesla's $1,000 a share. Of course, it's an expensive stock, so to downgrade it isn't really genius. But to sort of make up, oh, we're worried about this or that. Look, nobody has any visibility for any company right now in the world of what's going to happen in Q2 and Q3. So I think that's fairly obvious, and I think Tesla has the same risks that all the companies in the world have right now in meeting, is there demand for their products, and can they meet the demand for their products considering all the challenges we all face right now?
The $1,000 was monumental, right? Psychologically, We've been talking about it for some time. Which way do you think it could be headed? I know you've always, been a pro and a bull on this one. What do you think we see?
Well, so here's the thing. There's stock price and there's company, right? So the company is doing incredibly well despite all the challenges they're facing right now. And the Model Y is an amazing product. So we're very bullish on Tesla, irrelevant of even the battery technology, and also seeing things like Volkswagen is still unable to launch their ID electric car. They have no competition still. And I said this years ago that they weren't going to have competition when everybody was talking Tesla killers. But now it's become so glaringly obvious that there's no competition and nobody's coming soon in any scale. So in that sense, Tesla has a huge moat and is way ahead of everybody. And so that's why it should have a premium to it in its valuation. But on the other side of the coin, Tesla has a lot of challenges. I think Q2 will be challenging for them, maybe Q3. I actually think China is doing really well for Tesla right now. Remember, China's on the mend right now, so they're about 2 months ahead of the United States in the recovery. China auto sales are up. They're encouraging EV, and Tesla has sort of this amazing brand understanding and love in China. So we think China is going to be an area of strength for Tesla in Q2.
So I got lost on the price. So, I get that you think it's a great company.
Right.
So
what the price
has a lot of competition. Yeah.
What I'm saying is what the price is doesn't really matter. If it goes down, I will buy it. So we think it's worth, let's say, $650, or even Morgan Stanley said $680 or something like that. I think that's about right. So if it goes below that price, I'm a buyer of Tesla. I want Tesla to go down. I am not done buying Tesla. You see what I'm saying? There is no disadvantage of the price going down. But to pay $1,000, you're paying a premium for one of the best companies in the world. And I'm not going to pay that premium. I'm more a seller up there than a buyer.
I see. So that was very good actionable advice, Ross, to talking about where in the pullback to get in there. As far as the competition, I mean, people look to, I don't know, but Nikola has gotten a lot of talk this week, and I know Elon Musk has tried to ramp up the semi trucks. What's going on? Do you follow that at all?
I do follow it because it's an EV type company, although it's not an electric vehicle, it's a hydrogen one. But Nikola is a scary situation for investors because they're building around a premise of technology that will never be deployed. You can write this down, everybody. Nikola will never deploy their technology. They will never make these trucks. It's an incredibly difficult and complicated infrastructure to build. Why would you do that when you already have an electric vehicle infrastructure that exists now that people have invested billions for? So we very much believe in the battery electric future that Rivian is taking, and Tesla and many of the other auto manufacturers. But to move into hydrogen fuel cells, which, it sounds novel and great, is really a nightmare and a disaster. So investors beware, okay? This is a stock that goes back down. It is not worth anything I don't know what it's worth if it's something above 0, but definitely below 30. So
Yeah,
best
well,
beware.
it wasn't. Yeah, and you know what? I wrote it down. I wrote down what you said because I take notes during the show too. So
Good.
I see where you're coming from, Ross. And these things. This was under $20 and it went up to 90. So it really is one of these high flyers. So Ross, you're giving good advice probably of the be careful, because when you see big moves like that, that also brings a little bit of wariness. What do you think about the cuts that they've done in the prices for Tesla? I mean, when you have a vision of Tesla? I also heard that the cobalt-free batteries in China. There's lots of little headlines that are surrounding Tesla. Which ones are you most focused on for the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I think, first of all, there's a lot of stuff that's said about Tesla that isn't true, that's just made up. So it's very important to focus on Elon and what Tesla is actually saying, and not a lot of the stuff you read, which is really just speculation. So I think the real thing to watch with Tesla is their ability to ramp Model Y and what's customer demand right now. We track this really closely, and I just can't tell what customer demand is right now. In my heart, I see.
Why can't you tell what customer demand is? I mean, wouldn't it be like a survey, or is it going? Because it's not like they have showrooms. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, the way we were able to track it in the past was easier because there were so few Teslas on the road. It was fairly obvious as customers bought the car that there were so many more on the road. So that was easy to track. But now Teslas are everywhere. So it's like, it becomes harder to track demand because it's such a popular vehicle. And so for us with the pandemic, it's really a psychological issue whether buyers are feeling like, hey, now's the time to buy a new car, which in my mind, they're not. On the other hand, people's leases expire, they got to buy a new car, and they buy a new car. So I think Q2 is the biggest risk for Tesla, and then I think the risk lessens as we get through the rest of the year. And that's why I think investors should be cautious right now with Tesla, and just there's nothing wrong with waiting for more data. And I think the stock fully reflects its value.
I just want a quick Disney thought as the reopening is underway. Your thoughts on Disney?
I love Disney, and I think they have some challenges in front of them. But I think to their credit, their direct-to-consumer and their sports business are going to come back real quickly. I pray that Disney's able to open these parks in a safe way, and people can start to enjoy the Disney experience in a safe way. I'm just praying that we don't see further outbreaks, whether it's at Disneyland or at MGM Casino.
So sounds like you're cautious on this one right now.
I've studied this. I hate biology and all this stuff. Like, that was not what I wanted to study in school. And I've studied this stuff more than I ever plan on it. And I can tell you the one thing that you have to worry about with coronavirus is big groups of people yelling and screaming and being close together. And those super spreading events are really the risk. And that's why Disneyland and my casinos, as much as I'm a bull on them, I'm cautious right now, because I think until we have a vaccine, we're still going to be fighting this coronavirus for some time, and it's going to be a fight. It's not going to just go away because the Republicans says so.
I gotta go. But just a quick thought on the other Tesla models. You talked about the Y. You mentioned the Y so many times. We just showed the Cybertruck one. Remember when they threw the rock at the window and actually broke? I mean, I don't know what you thought of that. Oh my! All right, everybody. Maybe you were shocked. I was shocked. What are going to be the best sellers for Tesla?
Well, the Cybertruck will be a bestseller for Tesla. Yeah, that was one of the most interesting customer launch product launches I've ever seen, and I'm sure it'll make history at some point for just how you can botch a launch so well and still have the product sell crazily. I think the Cybertruck will do incredibly well, but I just think it's years off. So that's why I talk about the why, because as much as I love Elon, it's just like pushing the truck. He's talking years off. He's trying to get things out in the next 2-3 years, whether it's Roadster, which I love, and I'm just trying to get my full self-driving computer, which they keep telling me I'm going to get, and I still haven't gotten. So, Tesla's in this, it's a startup. It's the biggest startup in the world. The product they're launching right now is the Model Y. That's what's really happening. And until they can launch other products, it's really the only thing to talk about. So I'm excited for all the other products, but I think it's a couple years off.